Welcome back to New Wave Therapy and to the best kept secret in supplements. This is number 17. Do you believe that? Anyway, Bob Burdican here of New Wave Therapy. Of course, I'm your host. And today we're going to be talking to Dan Young again for Country Doctor Nutritional Center out in Cheyenne, Wyoming. What we're going to be doing actually is going back to some of the products. And the product we're going to actually talk about today is a product called HP Female. It's a product that they use extensively in the clinic. They've helped a tremendous amount of women with this product. And I know Dan has got a lot to say about it. So without doing too much more, I'm just going to let him take over. And I hope you enjoy it. And I want to thank you for coming by. Dan, it's good to see you again. How you been?
Bob, it's always a pleasure. I'm doing wonderful. Great to be back on with you again.
Well, that's good. We're doing good too. This week, we're going back on products, huh? We're going back on actually one of your more widely used and really beneficial products called HP Female, right?
That's correct.
So what is it? What does it do? Let's just start right off.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that we find men love this product almost as much, if not more than women, right? Because when women are out of balance, they feel out of control. They've lost a sense of well-being. There's a lot of irritability and emotion that goes along with balancing the hormones and the endocrine system. And the Female is one of those that is a synergistic blend of historically, scientifically proven herbals, which when they come together, provide a broad spectrum phytochemical support for making certain that the hormones can get in balance and stay in balance in a natural way with no toxic side effects.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, actually, we found the same thing, with our essential oil blends that we use with the horses. We created a blend basically that we were going to use just with the mares, the same situation to get their imbalance and all. And we ended up, there was a young stallion that got loose, and Bertha had been showing someone these products and had them all over her hands. And boy, that young stallion just nuzzled right up to her and became the best friend in the world. And so we started using it with geldings and stallions and balancing out their hormones as well. So it works always. So,
it's interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the things I've discovered recently with a client of mine with a different product, but this client mentioned to me that when they used a little swab and made an aromatic intake of that herbal blend, that it actually was enhancing how well they responded to the product, because it's another way of getting those nutrients. Even though they're suspended, it's aromatic, but definitely gets into the system really quickly.
Yeah, well, we found too, like ladies going through menopause, that even the essential oil geranium taken aromatically really helps them a lot too. So
yeah, very true.
So anyway, does it work with menopause? This product, or how does it do that if it doesn't?
The CDH Female and the HP Female are both very similar, except one has the herb Damiana, where the other has Dong Quai. But both are considered in the herbal books, in the scientific literature, as wonderful tonics for providing long-term balance. So whether the person is a young lady just going through puberty all the way through into menopause, this is a formula that will support the needed changes as the woman matures and goes on into maybe a menopausal state.
So then I guess it would probably help with PMS then too, right?
And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because that's the one the husbands really like it for. Okay. They really like their female, their wives on the female or the female CDH or HP. And PMS is kind of a misunderstood situation, in that premenstrual syndrome is really not a syndrome as much as it is a symptom of imbalance. We're lacking estrogens or progesterone, DHEA, adrenaline, cortisol. We're lacking the raw materials to maintain harmony in the female endocrine and hormonal system. So what happens is that this is wonderful and can be adjusted up or down based on the needs of the woman taking it at the time.
Very much so, yeah. Again, we've seen the same thing, same type of situation using an essential oil frankincense. So,
Okay. Yeah. Wonderful.
they all work hand in hand. And, we interject the essential oils and the light therapy with this product and have had tremendous success doing all three together. So,
Yeah.
So I understand too that it helps with irregularity during a menstrual cycle. Is that true?
Yes, a lot of times the excessive situation like fluid retention or bloat, body aches, cramping, these
Mhm.
types of things. These are all symptoms of a hormonal system that's overwhelmed or missing something. In most cases, it's both during
Yeah.
that time of the month. So when we use it effectively and use it aggressively, 2 to 3 capsules, as much as 3 or 4 times a day,
Hmm.
for 5 to 7 days, and then we can back down to maybe one capsule or one dropper full of tincture, maybe 3 times a day as a general maintenance. And that's one of the beautiful things that this approach has over the modern synthetic versions of things like estrogens and
Right.
other hormonal balancing agents that are synthetic, is that we have no toxic side effects. There's
Good.
no contribution to potential other illnesses associated with the synthetic hormones.
Okay. So what all actually does this product? I guess you got it in both forms, right? You got it in the capsule and in the tincture form.
Yes,
Again, it's more or less an individual choice of how they would take it, right?
correct.
Yeah.
And it's a delivery system. Some women
Right.
test best for liquid because it bypasses a lot of the digestive process. Metabolically,
Hmm.
it's much easier for the system to grasp and use those raw materials to support normal function when it's in a liquid form versus them having to break it down through digestion. Maybe they've got some digestive disruption, they're lacking enzymes, or maybe some other factors
Hmm.
interfering with the impact that the capsule version might have. And that's when the liquid version is going to be, it's going to give them a much more solid, more consistent support.
Yeah, so I guess too, like this is probably one of your biggest selling items as far as working with people and helping them with these kind of problems.
It is definitely in the top 10
It
of,
really keeps
of
the
the
people
things that
in the
we
lab
sell.
hopping,
Yeah.
I bet, huh? Making enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. She's going through a couple of thousand bottles of through the lab every quarter now, real easily.
wow,
So,
that's tremendous.
yeah.
And what that means is you're helping that many people too, you know.
It's having a big impact, Bob. And now more than ever, as you know, in your business as well, the
Right.
awareness of people looking for something like this in the last few years has never been higher. And
Right.
so when they become aware, we can become empowering to them. As long as
Hmm.
they're aware and they're
Right.
searching and looking, then you and I are in a position to empower those folks.
Yeah, because we don't really teach people, we allow them to learn.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. One of the
that is
mantras
such
that
a
you use.
misconception when people say, I'm going to teach you something. They never learn anything. What they need
Yeah.
to do is to get up there and learn how to do
Yeah.
what they need to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And then be patient, be consistent. It takes a
exactly. It all
minimum.
takes time.
It
So,
takes a minimum of 90 days for a
mhm.
woman, young or middle aged, or on into her, postmenopausal years, even, where it takes about 90 days to really allow the body enough exposure to those raw materials to really use them and piece that system back together incrementally
Right.
over time. So I tell people, women, I tell them, you need to give this formula at least 3 cycles, about 90 days to really see the overall impact and improvement that you're going to experience.
And that's a good philosophy to work with people with. So, yeah, it's, oh, there's one thing I wanted to share with you, completely off the subject,
Yes.
but it
No,
is
that's
kind of
fine.
with the subject because it involves superfood. Okay.
Okay.
Remember when we went through the symptom surveys and you told
Yes.
me basically I needed to get back on to the shakes,
Hmm.
and I did. And just to let you know that I kind of had to slow down in my workload. Um,
Sure.
Age is catching up, and it's not so bad getting down. It's the part the getting up. It's the hard part.
Right.
But anyway, I actually went out the other day after I'd been taking the shakes, so maybe 10, 14 days. And it was like old times again. Before noon, I trimmed 3 horses, shod a full horse, and shod a half a horse before
Wow.
noon. So,
Wow.
it just really got that much more stamina back into my body. And that the only change we made is we added just the heart and put me back on shakes, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And it's given me a lot more stamina, and I'm sure it would augment ladies with the female product too.
100%. That I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's a spectrum of support. You're correcting nutritional deficiencies that you may or may not be aware of, but because superfood is a broad spectrum nutritional support item, it starts building those back up after 2 or 3 weeks, like you mentioned, 14 days or so. And then the heart is specific for cardiovascular performance. The two together are just a powerhouse for what was showing up on your survey.
Right. So anyway, yeah, it's just.
So congratulations. Now, but don't tell Bertha, because you're going to have to work more now.
I know, but she ended up finding out. But it's a matter of. She's a little upset. Why don't you go and get some more horses to do? But yeah, we really are starting to augment all the three aspects together. We're really promoting of course, the light therapy we've always promoted, but the work we did with the horses really opened a lot of doors, and we found that using multiple protocols to really satisfy a situation was a tremendous factor, and we've carried it on into working with the owners and things like that as well. And the people can't even believe the type of results that they're receiving. And again, we're letting them learn that they actually watch and they say, well, you did this for my horse. I've got the same problem. Can you fix me? So
that's great.
Yeah. And see, they learned to ask, and then they learned to take care of themselves.
Yeah. So critical. Yeah. That's good.
Right. So anyway, Dan, is there anything else that we really need to get back on subject with, or?
Well, I think it's important to know that there's different expressions of these hormonal imbalances. I made a list for the viewers to be sure and kind of tune in on, because they may not have what they perceive as PMS, but maybe there's depression or anxiety. Maybe there's things like water retention or nervousness, maybe anger. There can be an emotional component to this. Maybe there's things like hair loss or libido concerns, right? So there's a broad spectrum of things that a woman can be experiencing that she may have been told aren't related to one concern, but yet our experiences are, as our women learn how they respond to the female, whether it's tincture or capsule, that they see it's like a pebble in a pond effect. There tends to be a bit of a ripple effect of other things that they may not have associated as being connected, but yet they're seeing improvement in these other areas that they may or may not have associated with a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, that's really good to know. It's good to get out there. Just to let you know, too, I was on Rumble today, and we've actually picked up 13 people on Rumble now. So we're starting to get noticed on Rumble. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad their lives are being enhanced.
That's right. That's what we need to happen. So anyway, I think next week, are we going to talk about female balance next time, or are we going to do something else?
Female balance, female plus.
Yeah.
Not a big difference in those two, but there's some additional things that it does provide over the female by itself that for some women are having specific situations.
Okay.
It's going to be important for them to know. And also with this particular product that we're covering tonight, we can think about enhancements or additional things for support like wild yam or lobelia, endocrine. Okay.
Right.
So those are some things that you carry in the product line as well, that, a woman's been on it for 90 days. She's seen a 50 or 60% improvement, but just isn't quite over the hump.
Exactly.
Stay with the female and then consider bringing on with it the wild yam, which is natural progesterone, phytochemicals. That's the youthful hormone support. Okay. And the endocrine for balancing even deeper the central nervous system, so that things just work all that much better. So a couple of enhancement products that can go with that.
Okay. All right. Anything else you need to add at this point, or?
I think we've covered it. The bottom line is we're not, as you and I both know, we're not really ingredients orientated as far as our discussions. I want to talk about results. 90% or better of women that get on this protocol that have a varied degree of stress, varied degree of concerns,
Right.
which we identified as centered around hormonal support. If they're on the program for 90 days or a little longer, but 90 days seems to be that sweet spot for really balancing these things out. And so I'm excited about getting the word out about the product.
Okay. All right. So until next week, when Dan and I will bring you the best kept secrets and supplements, stay safe and be healthy.